lot of those kids that were in the streets, and we need another venue to keep them interested, to keep them busy, and to keep them active. And we have provided computers, we have provided a room with arcade games, and a little space for a study area upstairs, and also a conference room. And if you haven't gone over there, I invite you to go. It's on 341 Wood Road. So please come over, and you're welcome to come. It's open. Tell them, Ms. Diaz, when it's open.
Chaya Palaca Community Center is open Tuesday through Saturday, and Tuesday through Friday that's the open from 1 to 8, and on Saturdays from 11 to 6. Rio Vista is open on Monday through Friday. Monday through Thursday it's open from 8 to 8, and on Fridays from 8 to 12.
And then if the non-believers are still not believing, well, I'm sorry. Yes, Ms. Reyes.
I just want to say thank you very much for the presentation, very informative. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. The packets that I provide you have details by the day of the month, and if you have any questions,
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Diaz.
The other Ms. Diaz?
Yes.
Recreational Parks Department is still a very, very brand new department. Previous to this, prior to this, actually parks,
Do we have anything to follow along with you?
no, I didn't go ahead and prepare anything to give you. More than anything, because it's a lot of proposals, ideas that are still being developed, and most of those proposals will go through once I meet with our board next month, and then we could go ahead and see where we could go with that.
Would you email it to me though?
Yes, of course.
Thank you.
It's still a very, very brand new department. Like I said, more than anything, it was, previous to this, it was under Public Works and Community Centers. And it's not until recently that they went ahead and took it apart from those two departments and went ahead and gave it its own department. Since the beginning, well, more than anything, Parks Department was established shortly before the grand opening of Bulldog Championship Park, and that was to go ahead and start operating all parks and trying to go ahead and make them better, improving them little by little. We went ahead and opened the season with a wonderful, on August 18th, with the celebration along with the community. One of the city's biggest accomplishments, which was the grand opening of Bulldog Championship Park. Due to citywide cooperation, City Council, Public Works, Community Centers, and Parks was able to go ahead and have a beautiful, beautiful celebration and grand opening. Shortly after that, we started receiving tons of requests to go ahead and ask for pavilions so that they could go ahead and host birthday parties, baby showers. We've had requests for, excuse me? Well, we've actually had several quinceañeras going out there and taking pictures, and they started using it for all sorts. Due to that, we did go ahead and hire a temporary staff to go ahead and help the community with the high demands so that they can go ahead and supervise the people, make sure that everybody is behaving, that they're taking care of the park, making sure that it stays clean at all times, since Parks Department usually only works Monday through Friday, and that's on in the mornings, so these people work in the afternoon and the weekends, so that they can go ahead and make sure that everything's being taken care of, especially the splash park area. At this moment, we are activating or trying to activate the Parks and Recreation Board. I have already contacted the 4 current members, which are Romulo Lucero, Paul Guerra, Danny Gomez, and Humberto Nevales. They have all agreed to go ahead and start meeting the second Monday of every month at 6 o'clock here at Chambers. They have all agreed to go ahead and make the first meeting, the official meeting on January 14th. We're in the process of adapting a secretary so we could go ahead and start getting ready and we could go ahead and organize everything with the new board. This would be the brand new first meeting since it's something that just went ahead and got established as well, and we're trying to do it according to the ordinance.
What time did you say?
At 6 o'clock.
Thank you.
At the present moment, we're trying to go ahead and do improvements and renovations to some of the other parks that are not being renovated by the city with city money, CO money. So what we started off with right now is at Cooper Park. We started sanding down all of the tables, the poles, the ceilings and the canopies, everything. The swing sets, trying to go ahead and take off paint. We found about 10 layers of paint on there because they just kept painting over and over. So it's taken us a little longer. But we're trying to go ahead and get rid of all of that, keep the good trash cans, get rid of the ones that have holes in the bottom, trying to go ahead and make them look new. We went ahead and purchased good paint, high quality paint that will last at least 2-3 years. We'll maintain a gloss and we'll go ahead and give the park an overall better appearance. At the same time, we're trying to go ahead and replace some of the shelves. Some of those that have, the wood has just broken off. We're trying to go ahead and replace roofs. We are looking into go ahead and looking for cheap, nice grills. And that's something that was made out of scrap metal, so we could go ahead and start giving all of our parks a new image. Nets will go ahead and start being placed in basketball hoops right after we replace the backboards and soccer posts and the baseball fields, so that all of that can go ahead and be ready for the spring for our Little League teams, which we've already started getting tons of requests for as well. So it's very exciting. Some of the picture parks.
Before you go on, just an idea maybe for Cougar Park that you want to look into. Since that's not technically a city-owned property, maybe we can try and contact the Public Service Board who owns that land and see if they'd be willing to sell us the property. Because, you know, we've had it for 20+ years and we don't mind paying market value for it, but maybe it's about time that the city of Socorro finally purchase that piece of property for us.
Okay.
Going back to your office in this particular park,
You just moved on.
park, right? That you're addressing right now?
No, I'm sorry.
This one here, it's Municipal
Cougar.
Oh, this one's at Cooper Park. The next couple of parks that will be we're trying to go ahead and improve more than anything, will be Amistad Park, Paradise Park, and Moon City Park. We want to go ahead and eventually get to all of those and go ahead and take off all the paint, put new paint, put trash cans. Paradise Park, unfortunately, I think only has like one bench and one trash can, so we need to go ahead and start making them look like they belong to the city instead of just empty pieces of land.
Well, one point that I wanted to reflect on, Moon City Park, which we're going to work on. I was out there during the 4th of July with people that were out there riding fireworks, and they were extremely pleased of the program we had with the fireworks. It was completely full. But the question kept coming to me, why is it so dry? Why isn't it? And I explained to them, which has come about. It took me several months, but we finally got it done. Is that we had I think it's 160-foot well put there. So we'll be drawing enough water during the summer to flood that area and spruce it up, level it off, put grass, and get those trees nice and green. I know the fencing has been repaired around it because there used to be holes that used to be torn. But I like that park. It's a small little park with the playground and everything. It's going to be a unique park, but all it needs, like the whole county, is water. And it's like once it has the water, the well is there right now. It's working. It's just that we need the electrical box to get it hooked up and get that pump going. But we have other things that are a little bit more important, but come summertime, it'll be ready to.
Oh, yes, and I'm retracting those from Public Works so that we could go ahead and start installing them, and they could be ready by spring.
Yep.
It's among some of the summer renovations that we want to be ready for. We have purchased pounds and pounds of seed, grass seed, so that we could go ahead and start leveling the ground in all of these parks. We could go ahead and plant. One of our employees, Wilson Atalaya, is licensed to go ahead and plant seed, not just grass seed, but also for flowers. So we could go ahead and I think even a couple of them make a huge difference. And we could go ahead and start putting that, making some boundaries, starting, little improvements, little by little, as much as we could go ahead and take care of in 1 year according to our budget and according to everything else. We have a limited source of employment fees as well. But I think that eventually we could go ahead and get to all of these parks and start making them look beautiful. We have the land, so.
You have a projected schedule for any of the projects that you were looking at?
We should be done with the back area of Cougar Park, hopefully by next week. And then we're just gonna go ahead and take care of some benches. From there, we're gonna move on to the next park. The seating, we can't go ahead and take care of that until probably late February, early March, because that's when the weather starts changing, starts getting a little warmer to allow it to grow. So it just all depends on what facet. I have meet schedules for them for about 3-4 months, giving them timelines on where this is where we should be at now. And that way they're motivated to see, okay, by this we should start seeing this. And it really does help.
Can we get a copy of your projected schedule?
Sure. I could go ahead and email it to you.
I appreciate that, thank you.
When you said benches, are you talking about the ones that council allocated for Amistad Park and, what was it you referred to? The one that council allocated benches for?
This one, they call it Pencil Park.
The Soul Park, were you aware of that?
I have heard, and I'm trying to go ahead and get the paperwork so we can go ahead and start looking to see how much is in that projection, so we can go ahead and start looking for the proper equipment. I have had a couple of conversations with Mr. Norfleet on more or less what kind of material he wants to go ahead and use. He's discussed that he really likes especially the trash cans and things like that are at Bulldog Park. So maybe trying to stick to something similar
Yes.
to that so that they can all look.
You weren't here for that meeting, and that's why I asked if you were informed of it, and so that's probably the communication here. Council already, for those 2 specific parks, allocated for Amistad Park, I think 90 benches, and for the Soul Park, like 7 benches. And we already got the price quote, the specific, so we just need your department to go pick them up and then and then you all install them. And they're allocated to those 2 specific parks.
If they're ready, trust me, I can
Yes.
get them to be out there as soon as possible.
So and I apologize that we didn't make sure, because again, you weren't at that meeting, so how would you know in this detail?
No, if that's the case, then I'll go ahead and get a hold of wherever exactly we need to go, and we'll get those as soon as
And
possible.
I'll email you that agenda.
Oh, thank you, I would appreciate it. Some of the other things that we also have in mind at this time, we're trying to work with El Paso Water Improvement District in order to go ahead and transfer the current water rights at Bulldog Park from the ditch irrigation and transfer it over to Paradise Park. I have talked to Mr. Richard Gutierrez from Public Works. I'm trying to go ahead and find methods to go ahead and put tubing underneath the street so that the water could go ahead and go into Paradise Park and we can start irrigating early in the summer. That park, I think, has a lot of trees. It has so much potential, and I think we could go ahead and if we start watering, like you had said, we go ahead and start taking care of that, eventually it'll get there.
I've had quite a bit of contact with Mr. Fernie Sanchez, who takes care of those issues with the lateral gates, the water gates to put water rights into the property and so forth. And if you want to install some gates to get the water into a specific area from a ditch, well, what I found out, because I'm working on the Joe Carrasco Park to get the pipes for the gates, and we could work with them, and so far, we get them at half price. With working with Fernie and the water district. We're sharing the prices with the water, North Valley Water Company, the water district. And if you need a contact with him, let me know. It might be worth looking into if you get the price, because they usually run about $5,000. And the ones that I've been able to get from the water district were half price, $2,400.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So let me know if you need some contacts, and I'll get you connected with it.
Okay, thank you.
One last thing, because you're talking about transferring water rights. When I met with the County Water Improvement District a while back ago, they informed me that they don't have a system in place to be notified when water rights transfer. And they were bringing up an issue with dealing with our subdivisions. They're asking the city to, if we could somehow put them on a list so when a subdivision comes in, we notify them also. But going back to, we just purchased the 9 acres right there behind the Chapalaca Community Center. So I bet you those have water rights on that property also. So maybe we can contact the county, or you can contact the County Water Improvement, let them know we purchased, you can get the legal description from Mr. Leone, this property, and then they can tell us if there's back taxes owed on it, we can then pay that off, own those water rights, and then you can also, again, just transfer water rights. So just, yeah. So.
No? Excuse me, asking me, go back. Right there. Can you explain to them about the picture?
Oh, it's Tony, one of our maintenance guys. Maintenance right now is currently under parks. And this morning, they actually went ahead and repainted the entire reception area at administration. It looks beautiful. It looks brand new. They have been working so hard at trying to go ahead and paint and trying to go ahead and, it's amazing what just even a little bit of paint can go ahead and do to a room. They went ahead and put some colors in there that makes the room look bigger, brighter, and that's what they've been doing. That's what maintenance department has been doing right now. Other than taking care of, heating and making sure that every building is running according to par, they have been trying to go ahead and help in this whole renovation idea that has been going throughout the city.
And also, Ms. Montoya orders new chairs and lamps and everything, and the reception area looks really pretty. Yeah. So
Yes, it's starting to look like a completely different building.
we have like the best employees, there are. So thank you for all the work.
And what's wonderful is that they're all willing to work with each other and, this was priority, okay, we'll go ahead and wait. So everybody has been so patient and waiting on their schedule, because I even made a schedule for them. Just trying to go ahead and make sure that we're staying according to a schedule, that everything is going according to a specific time frame, and that there's not people waiting too long for something. So everybody has been very patient, has been working wonderfully. And like I said, in addition, the control for the irrigation well at Moon City Park will be placed before spring. That way we can go ahead and start irrigating at that park when we go ahead and plant, and we can hopefully start seeing all of our parks green by the summer. Spring and summer proposals right now, some of them have been deciding more or less if there's a specific date when to go ahead and open the water park at the Duck Championship. Right now, it's just a proposal, like I said, would be during Socorro Independent School District's spring break, which starts on March 9th, 2013. In addition, in collaboration with recreational community centers with Ms. Dania Diaz and her department, we could go ahead and celebrate the city's annual Easter egg hunt on March 31st at Cougar Park. Usually it's something that Texas A&M takes care of completely on their own, and this time we want to go ahead and start becoming more active so that little by little it's city events instead of we're just assisting an outside source. And that way we could go ahead and get more of the community involved. 4th of July celebrations, of course, will be conducted in accordance to city official future plans. Depending, I know that there's always something that we go ahead and you guys decide to do, so we could go ahead and take care of that. Oh, sorry, wrong way. Also, I was thinking of going ahead and doing something like Movies Under the Stars, especially since we have the big stage at Bulldog Park. I was thinking maybe of doing something like the last Saturday of every month, putting a different movie for the community to come and see. They could go ahead and sit down, come and sit down in their blankets on the grass and watch a movie in the evening. It would be around maybe 6:30, 7 o'clock, finish around 8:30, 9 o'clock the latest. So it would still be a nice adequate time. By then it'll start being a little warmer and they could go ahead and either bring their own treats, or I have been thinking about contacting outside sources. I did have one individual suggest that we contact Socorro High School's student council and maybe go ahead and get a partnership with them for them to come and go ahead and sell some concessions, and in return, of course, they would help us pick up afterwards and maintain the park beautiful. It would go ahead and benefit the school, and it would benefit the park as well. All of these movies would be age appropriate for the entire family, and they would go ahead and, of course, be accepted, or they would be run through by the council, through Parks Board, to make sure that they're appropriate and that they all agree. I am looking into different companies to go ahead and get licensing rights, so we can go ahead and look into this and just having the paperwork ready in case it does go through. Well, we're already ready to go ahead and start. And if this does go through, my proposal was to go ahead and maybe begin on February 16th, which would be Valentine's Day weekend. I know by then it's still a little cold, but seeing that there's still a lot of people that don't have maybe money to go do something expensive or lucrative, this would be a nice alternative for them to go ahead and take part in. Of course, Mauro Rosas is one of the parks that's being remodeled by the city. At the present moment, Sanchez Wrought Iron has already bought the material for the fencing. It has not arrived yet, but they have told me that as soon as it does, they're going to go ahead and start working on it. We have had our surveyors go out there and start taking care of all the measurements, and Public Works has assured me that they're going to go ahead and start leveling the ground as soon as possible, so that as soon as Mr. Sanchez is ready, he can go ahead and start placing the fence as quickly as possible. So everything's on its way. The high-tech facility, of course, will provide educational physical contributions to our community. And I think this would be a wonderful idea, maybe just to consider in the future, a possible tour guide to go ahead and provide evening stargazing events for the community, so that they could go ahead and teach them about the different stars and things like that while they're out there.
And before you go on, real quick, they projected we'll probably start construction sometime in late January, early February. So and the beauty about this park, just like Bulldog Park, is it's gonna have the only public telescope in the county. And this is a telescope, not as big as the big ones at the McDonald's Observatory, but they're medium-sized ones. And so literally you'll be able to look through the eyepiece of that telescope and see the colors of the rings on Saturn. And so this provides itself a wonderful opportunity to our youth, who, when do they have the chance to go to the McDonald's Observatory and look at those type of experiences. So it's got that in it. It's got a bunch of great features, just like Bulldog Park. I mean, it's just another quality project that Socorro has taken on, and that will be completed here pretty soon. And I'm happy to say it's in my district, so that's also where my source of pride comes from. So,
And I agree, it's very, very educational. The pictures look beautiful. It gives you information not only of Mauro Rosas, but it inspires the children to go ahead and want to continue their education so that they can go ahead and maybe become something like that. It's inspirational. At the same time, it shows you the different facets of the stars. So it's all of these little things put into one, and that's why I thought that would be a wonderful place to go ahead and maybe have like tour guides. Once, twice a month, maybe we could go ahead and organize them so that they can come and they can go ahead and get more information.
and what a difference how Socorro has come from where Cougar Park used to be the gem. And like you said, the grills were made of tire rims. And if you walk into the men's restroom at Cougar Park, it's a half-cut water heater for the urinal for the men. I mean, but that was the pride, of Socorro, and it's funny that we had Mr. Lopez come in earlier, because that was their vision. And we finally said, no, you know, we're gonna have better facilities in the city of El Paso. We're gonna have better facilities in the county of El Paso. And I think Cougar Park, Bulldog Championship Park was the first time we built a park and everybody said, wow, Socorro can build stuff like this. And then Maru Rosas is gonna be the second park that people go, wow, because there's nowhere else in the county, the city of El Paso, where you can go and look into a public telescope, and like you said, we'll probably have to bring on a technician, a Maru Rosas technician position, so somebody who can run those programs there, but what a great asset to our community to have those experiences, and you don't have to drive to the west side, you don't have to drive to the northeast, it's in your backyard here in Socorro.
And people are coming here from the rest of El Paso to see our park, so that just makes community members so proud, you know. We're having outsiders come and look at our stuff now, instead of us having to go to them.
Yeah, on the same line as what Mr. Gambara is saying, I'd just like to add a couple of things. The beautification of Socorro, it enhances the way of life. And we've been, since day one that we stepped into council, to enhance the quality of life in Socorro. And by doing all these projects, we also give back to the community, especially our children, because that's the future of Socorro. We educate our children better by showing them the stars and what they look like and so forth. And I mean, I can't really express myself in saying that this is just the tip of the iceberg. There is more to come, even a lot more. And right now, everybody is looking at Socorro as to what we do. They're saying, oh, another project. Oh, they're doing this. They're doing that. And not to, get myself way ahead of time. There's more business coming in. They're looking at Socorro as a jewel, So there's a lot of things in store for the community. And I'll say this with all honesty, in 10 years, you will not recognize Socorro. That's how much it's going to change. There's things that we're working on, Chamber of Commerce and so on, bringing even more commerce into Socorro. There's a lot of development going on, and this is in store for the people of Socorro. And that's the only thing that we got to give back to the city of Socorro, our people, our communities. But we take it in what we say taxes and so forth, property tax. Well, this is a way of giving back to our people because they deserve it. You live here, you want to make it a better place to live. And that's what we're doing, enhancing the Socorro so it is a better place to live. So we can have pride in our city. All these ordinance and so forth is to control all those things that was wrong, and that's how we control them with ordinances. Any city you go to, you see ordinances in effect. But that's for the protection of everybody. So everybody enjoys living in Socorro. It's not just for the few, but everybody. So, and that's just commenting on what you just said, Mr. Landa. I like the idea. And you'll be very pleased. And like I said, in 10 years, you're not going to recognize Socorro. That's how much in the future we foresee what's coming here. But making the meetings is a way to learn and see what's coming down the pipe. And tell your neighbors, oh, this is going to happen. We already got this in store. I was talking to a gentleman the other day. He's asking me, well, aren't you guys controlling the dog? Yes. The ordinance is in effect. Aren't you doing this? Yes. It's already been done. It's just that you haven't looked around. But it's there. Well, the streets and so forth, they're being paid. The traffic's being controlled with the enlargement and widening of North Loop and Horizon. All these things, why do you think they're being widened? Because we just want to widen them, or TxDOT wants to widen them? No, because the future means a lot of traffic. That's why they're being widened. So it's beautiful working with things like that, because it's new for us. But that's what's coming down. So hopefully we're all around the street. And on the other hand, You still have it?
Oh, just one more.
Oh.
The other park, of course, that will be soon installed is 9/11 Memorial Park in commemoration to the events of 9/11. Pride General Contractors has already brought in the first batch of materials into the park so that they can go ahead and start building the wall. At this moment, they're already working with planning and zoning, trying to go ahead and get the permits and inspections so that they can go ahead and start constructing that block wall around the area that will go ahead and be 9/11 Park. So that's wonderful. They went ahead and got to it real fast. As soon as we went ahead and told them it's ready, they started putting things in there, taking material. Of course, City of Socorro's Public Works Department has already begun to clear out the area that will be affected by the park, since they're gonna go ahead and move a little further down. They're eventually gonna get a lot more land in the back, and then we're gonna go ahead and have the park in the front close to Chayapolaca at 341 North Moon Road. After completion, the community will have a serene place to collect their thoughts and educate themselves on the day that will forever be embedded in our nation's history.
I forgot to bring the map. It's in my class, but we don't have time to go get it. But I'm happy to say that it's going to be in my district. It's wonderful, beautiful.
I think it's something that the kids will actually grow up knowing that it was part of their history, part of their generation, and they can go ahead and visualize, what kind of impact it had in the entire nation.
And that's what people want. They invest in us for these parks, because I think they deserve that and more. So I'm glad that everything's getting done on schedule, and I can't wait for it to be done. Everything has been done according to rules and regulations, so we're moving forward with that one.
Yes.
Mr. Gandhi.
And to jump on that, 9/11 Memorial Park, and I need to steal your thunder, so can you tell them about what we're bringing from New York?
Go ahead. You won't steal my thunder. I'm not envious.
And so, one of the neat, again, these parks that we're building, Bulldog, Monte Rosas, 9/11, parks that are second to none that you won't find anywhere else in the county. One of the many great features this park is going to have is we've contacted the New Jersey Port Authority, and we're having transported one of the beams that was actually inside the Twin Towers. So one of the things you can do in this park is you can actually walk up to this beam and touch it that was inside of one of the Twin Trade Towers. And so to have that type of connection to such an event that will live on in infamy, it's like Pearl Harbor. It's something that's just scarred into our nation. But to be able to have that closeness here and have it in Socorro, Texas, where the children can come and do field trips and learn, and again, this park is a great concept, and it's going to be wonderful in your district, Ms. Rodriguez. But there's areas designated for the plane victims. There's areas designated for the emergency services, fire department, police departments, all those NYPD, with their names, and then there's a major monument in the middle of it. But for me, like I said, I like the one of that area where it's going to be where the children, the adults can go touch a beam that was actually inside the Twin Trade Towers. That's incredible to me that we're going to have that here in Socorro.
And it also has a lot of pathways so that people can come and exercise, which is one of the things that they have really, really wanted. And so we're happy to bring it to them.
Yes.
Yes.
You go to Bulldog Park and they're there at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, already walking along the path. And some of them go with their little dogs and, keep walking, and they stay there. At the moment, we're still closing at 8 o'clock, and they know exactly. They get there right before, so that they could go ahead and walk around and have their exercise, and at 8 o'clock, we're like, okay, thank you, because they know that there's somebody there also, and they feel a little more, secure.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Also,
You're forgetting one important.
I was going to say.
Were you going to say that?
Yes. Let me inform you also for the people that are out there. We already are planning a Veterans Park that is going to be in Mr. Gandana's area. That also is going to be great. I know that we don't have anything for the veterans in Socorro, and other entities do. And that's very, very important to us. So it's on the way, it's on the works, and we're gonna start, you're gonna see on the next meeting, hopefully some items that pertain to that project. We're not forgetting about the advancing support. So-
And in fact, we named it a few months ago, or maybe now, yeah, about 8, 9 months ago, and it's Veterans Celebration Park. Because we want to celebrate our veterans that have, you know, the ones that have sacrificed, ultimate sacrifice, but the ones also that were able to come back. So we're proud, and that's the reason we named it Veterans Celebration Park, because we're going to celebrate our veterans.
Yeah, if I may, you forgot one important feature of this park, this 9/11 park.
Oh, no, I didn't.
It's got 2 towers, and they curve out the top. They're huge. Well, to me, they're huge. They're about 40 foot high, and they're all made out of glass, and the glass is gonna be lit up from the inside. So if you're flying into the airport, you'll be able to see these towers, sort of like the arch in St. Louis. And not as big, not as huge, but about 40 foot high, and it'll be lit up, and all gonna be constructed out of, well, I shouldn't say glass, but a form of glass like polyurethane that's invisible, you know. So it's gonna be lit up at night, and it'll be seen from way up high as planes come in. You know how you see the star on the mountain? Well, you'll see this beam first and foremost. It'll be kind of like 9/11 in New York, you know? That's what they
And
said.
it looks almost as if it's the towers starting to collapse.
Yeah,
I
like
feel
they're
that
embracing,
important.
and it creates a teardrop.
I haven't decided if, you know, I know it's going to have lights, that's one thing. I haven't decided whether it's going to be changing lights or color lights or stable lights, we'll see. We'll give you a surprise, but it's gonna be a nice surprise. And also, I need to tell you that that was one of the ideas that Mr. Gamba had. I've always found them very innovative, so, there you go.
And that was my presentation.
We get excited about parks, sorry.
Yes, no, hopefully, the ideas will be well liked.
So, okay, is there, Lucia?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Ms.
you.
Diaz, for a
Thank you.
wonderful
Thank you very much.
presentation. You were doing a wonderful addition to the city of Socorro as well as the other employees.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Very good.
Item number 8, presentation of bid proposal for health insurance package proposal presented by Hub International for FY 2013.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem Garcia and City Council, and Mr. Norwood, and the city staff. There you go.
I forgot.
And members of the audience. I'm Randy McGraw. I'm with Hub International Insurance Services, and with me tonight also I have a colleague, Lisa O'Gean. She's our senior benefits consultant with Hub International also. And before I get started with the presentation, I first want to thank you for hiring us a month ago to be your benefits broker and advisor for employee benefits, and we've been busy. And then also, it's a pleasure. I attend a lot of public meetings with the city, the county, and other counties and cities around the state, and it's exciting to hear what you have going on here in Socorro. It's really, really enlightening. The purpose of the presentation tonight is to summarize the RFP process that we helped your staff through in the last month. And I'll walk through that and welcome any questions that you have. I would like, just to go ahead and kind of lay the groundwork too. I think in keeping with all the information you've been hearing, I would perceive this as good news too. This is the results of the RFP process in terms of the financial offerings that we were able to gain, and then also for the benefit choices you're going to be able to provide your employees on January the 1st with their new benefit planning year. So one of the things when we first sat down with your staff and reviewed what your needs were and issues, and we outlined the process for guiding you through rather quickly an assessment of your various employee benefit programs, is we identified some areas that they specifically wanted to address, both with your staff and with your insurance committee. One of the first things was that evidently in the beginning of 2012, somehow your employee benefits plan kind of morphed into a self-insured arrangement. And don't get me wrong, we work with a lot of large employers, and I enjoy working with self-insured arrangements. But frankly, for an employee group of your size, it's kind of risky for the city of Socorro to have entered into that agreement. And from what I understand, the service expectations weren't meeting the needs of the city or the expectations of your employees. So one of the first orders that were laid out is we need to get out of this arrangement and help you get back into a more traditional, fully insured type of program for your medical benefits. And then the other concern too, that we heard loud and clear from your insurance committee is that the cost of the payroll deductions for benefits under the medical plan were pretty high. And that's evident too, in that out of your entire population, you have 85 employees that are participating in the health plan, but only 4 employees are electing coverage for their dependent spouses, children, or family. And that's a real low ratio, quite frankly, for people to be able to provide benefits for their family. And no doubt it's due to the high cost that you had affiliated with the self-funded benefit plan. And then we heard also that there were just some various service issues with some of your different vendors that you were using, so we wanted to address those and see if we can't help find you better service providers for some of those benefit packages. And then, of course, there's keeping it inside of what you have budgeted from the city. You've already adopted your budget for your current fiscal year, and your benefit plans all cycle and renew on January 1, so that was one of the challenges there. And then, if possible, we wanted to maintain or improve the benefits that you have, open up some additional choice, and then also to consider an additional benefit offering, which I refer to as a hospital indemnity plan. So those were kind of the marching orders that we had laid out. And I think you might have been provided the presentation earlier. I did change this slide here, it's in a different order, but I wanted to show you the timeline that we used in helping you go through the request for proposal RFP process. So basically, on November the 8th is when you held your meeting and you hired us, and we immediately met with the city, started collecting information. On November the 18th, you ran some advertisements and advertising to any prospective bidders the opportunity to respond. The data went out to all various carriers, et cetera, starting on November the 19th, which was a Monday. And then we had a deadline for anyone that had questions they wanted to ask about that on November the 27th. And the proposals were due this Monday at 2 o'clock here in Socorro, so it was a very quick turnaround time. Your insurance committee met the following days to start looking over some of the proposals. And then we've had some additional meetings with your staff and dialogue back and forth. And now here we are tonight, to bring the recommendations and the summary information to you. On this slide here, and it's not that easy to read, and I realize, but these are a list of all the carriers that we sent information out to. Either they asked for it, or we identified them in advance and we sent them information so that they could respond to the request for proposal process. So this top group here, these are the carriers that primarily were identified for being in the marketplace to provide fully insured health insurance. And then this section here are dental carriers and life insurance carriers. Then we had some ancillary carriers such as Aflac, and then some vision providers as well. The boxes that are marked with an X show who responded with what types of products. So it was interesting. Again, this is small lettering here, but I'll run down it verbally so that people can listen. So on Monday at 2 o'clock, the proposals were received, and then at 2:30, your city clerk and the staff opened the proposals to see what came forth, which was, again, for the most part, all these boxes here marked with an X were the different types of proposals received. Interestingly enough, neither of the carriers, or none of the carriers that were solicited to provide health insurance actually submitted a paper response to you by the deadline on 2 o'clock. And that was concerning because that's the big ticket item in the entire process. And we know they were working on it because they were asking questions and asking for additional information during the RFP process. Frankly, they just didn't follow your instructions and submit the hard copy proposal by the deadline. So what we did is we consulted with Mr. Wallace, your attorney, we talked amongst ourselves and determined a process to go ahead and allow you to receive their proposals. They did email their proposals that afternoon over, but they didn't follow the guidelines and send in the hard copy. So after discussion, we determined that since nobody had actually responded, what we did is we went back again to each one of these carriers up here, which were Aetna, Blue Cross and Blue Shield, Cigna, United Healthcare, and Humana. And some of them had already sent messaging back to say, thank you for the opportunity, but we're not going to respond. But since we were going to more or less open up an extension to receive the proposal, we went back to each one of those insurance carriers and said, you have a chance to reconsider. If you want to send in your proposal, please send it in right away. And the only ones that did send in proposals, and they arrived the next morning on Tuesday in the paper format, were proposals from Aetna and Blue Cross and Blue Shield. Cigna doesn't really provide a true fully insured offering for a group of your size, and both United Healthcare and Humana indicated they didn't think they could be competitive. So we did receive the 2 proposals from Aetna and Blue Cross and Blue Shield. And as it states in the summary document there, nobody was given any competitive information. There was no information shared. Everybody had the same data set. Again, they just didn't follow the instructions. So as we go through the proposal or through the summary, you'll see what their responses look like. So I'll start off with some of the easier ones. The one that's going to take a little more time and explanation is generally the medical plan. The city provides employer-paid insurance for dental insurance, and vision insurance, and basic life insurance, and medical insurance. So some of the easier ones to evaluate and summarize are the dental and the medical and the vision. So the first one we have on the slide is the dental insurance plan. Your current dental insurance carrier is a company called Dental Select. And from what we heard from your staff was that the service or the access to the providers wasn't exactly up to par. And if there was somebody that was better out there, that would be kind of a blessing or be good. You did receive a proposal from Sun Life Financial, and I know you can't read it that easily on the screen, but the current employee-only rate from Dental Select was $23.66 a month. And their offer through the bid process was to actually raise it to $24.84 a month. That's these first 2 columns in the summary spreadsheet. Sun Life's proposal, and they're essentially duplicating the benefits that are offered under Dental Select. The employee-only rate is $18.50. So it's almost $6 less than either the current rate or the renewal rate. But more importantly is that for the dependent coverages, where employees are elected to cover their spouse or their child or their family, for the current payroll deductions on a monthly basis, the spouse coverage is almost $35 under Dental Select, and the proposal from Sun Life is just shy of $19. So a significant reduction to your employees that want to cover their spouse for dental coverage. For the child coverage, they currently pay almost $38 per month at $37.76, and the Dental Select plan is at $21.70. So that's good. And then on the family, again, there's a significant reduction to people that want to cover their families for dental care from what they're paying now at $63.66, and it would drop to $47.95. So it's a win-win situation for both the city's contribution to the plan and for employees that want to cover their dependents. Everybody can perceive a substantial reduction in cost. The benefits are essentially identical. The plan designed for dental is that there's an individual deductible of $50 per person, or a maximum of $150 per family. Preventive services are covered at 100% and not subject to the deductible. Basic services are covered at 80%, and major services are covered at 50% with a $1,000 benefit maximum per year. And then both plans have orthodontia covered at 50% up to $1,000 per lifetime. Yes, ma'am?
It says here that it's based on 100% participation.
Yes,
Okay, so
that means of
if we
the,
have less, then does that mean the rate will go up?
well, but you do have 100% participation because the city pays for each employee to have it at no cost, so,
Any profit on the difference?
yeah, that's not a problem. So that's what they, when they say 100% participation, they're just talking about 100% of the employees would enroll, which they do because you provided for them at no cost, so.
But it's not 100% payroll deducted. The city, the employee doesn't pay any amount at all to the payroll. The city fully funds it through the budget process.
So that's good. Not only that, the digital provider network that Sun Life uses is a provider network called United Concordia. And it's a name that most people wouldn't recognize, but United Concordia provides dental benefits to all the federal employees in the area. And there's a lot of federal employees in the area. There's a lot of federal employees out in the Fort Bliss area. Plus you have like Department of Justice, Border Patrol, ICE, all the federal agencies are using that same provider network, which means that there'll be more dental providers in the area that will not try to bill any higher than what the plan would allow and pay. So it gives your employees increased access at the same benefit and a substantially reduced price. So that was all good news across the board for the dental plan. The life insurance is also good news. Now, the city of Socorro pays for the basic life insurance for each employee, and the current rate per thousand is 22.5 cents. So if you bought, what that really says is if you're buying $10,000 worth of coverage, it costs $2.25. This is not a really big ticket item, but it's an important benefit. There were two bidders that were pretty good. Sun Life had a pretty good proposal. Their basic life rate is at 18.5 cents, so it's less than what you would pay. It would save the city some money. But there's another part of your life insurance program where employees can buy additional life insurance for themselves or their spouse or their children at their own expense through a payroll deduction. So Sun Life basically matched the current rates that you charge for the supplemental life insurance. So there's a little bit of savings to the city, but employees would perceive no difference between Sun Life and Lincoln Financial in terms of what they buy for themselves. A company called Transamerica